Chapter 17. Rahim Khan slowly uncrossed his legs and leaned against the bare wall in the very deliberate way of a man whose every movement triggers spikes of pain. Outside, a donkey was braying and someone was shouting something in Urdu. The sun was beginning to set, glittering red through the cracks between the ramshackle buildings. It hit me again, the enormity of what I had done that winter on that following summer. The names rang in my head: Hassan, Sorab, Ali, Farzana, and Sonabar. Hearing Rahim Khan speak all these names was like finding an old dusty music box that hadn't been opened in years. The melody began to play immediately. Who did you eat today, Babalu? Who did you eat, you slant-eyed Babalu? I tried to conjure Ali's frozen face, to really see his tranquil eyes, but time can be a greedy thing. Sometimes it steals all the details for itself. Is Hassan still in that house now? I asked. Rahim Khan raised the teacup to his parched lips and took a sip. He then fished an envelope from the breast pocket of his vest and handed it to me. For you. I tore the sealed envelope. Inside, I found a Polaroid photograph and a folded letter. I stared at the photograph for a full minute. A tall man dressed in a white turban and a green striped chevan stood with a little boy in front of a set of wrought iron gates. Sunlight slanted in from the left, casting a shadow on half of his rotten face. He was staring and smiling at the camera, showing a pair of missing front teeth. Even in this blurry Polaroid, the man in the shaman exuded a sense of self-assuredness, of ease. It was in the way he stood, his feet slightly apart, his arms comfortably crossed on his chest, his head tilted a little toward the sun. Mostly, it was in the way he smiled. Looking at the photo, one might have concluded that this was a man who thought the world had been good to me. Rahim Khan was right. I would have recognized him if I had bumped into him on the street. The little boy stood barefoot, one arm grabbed around the man's thigh, his shaved head resting against his father's hip. He too was grinning and squinting, and I unfolded the letter. It was writing in Farsi. No dots were made, no crosses forgotten, no words blurred together. The handwriting was almost shell-like in its neatness. I began to read, baby. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, Amir Aga, with my deepest respects. Farzana Han, Sorab, and I pray that this latest letter find you in good health and in the light of Allah's grace. Please offer my warmest thanks to Rahim Khan Said for carrying it you. I'm hopeful that one day I will hold one of your letters in my hands and read of your life in America. Perhaps a photograph of you will even grace our eyes. I have told too much about you to Farzana Yang and Sorab, about us growing up together and playing games and running in the streets. They laugh at the stories of all the mischiefs you and I used to cause. Amir Aga. Alas, the Afghanistan of your youth is long dead. Kindness is gone from the land, and you cannot escape The killings, always the killings. In Kabul, fear is everywhere, in the streets, in the stadium, in the markets. It is a part of our lives here, Amir Aga. The savages who rule our water don't care about human decency. The other day, I accompanied Farsan Ayan to the bazaar to buy some potatoes and naan. She asked the vendor how much the potatoes cost, but he did not hear her. I think he had a deaf ear. So she asked louder, and suddenly a young tall ram ran over and hit her on the thighs with his wooden stick. He struck her so hard she fell down. He was screaming at her and cursing and saying the Ministry of Vice and Virtue does not allow women to speak loudly. She had a large purple bruise on her leg for days, but what could I do except stand and watch my wife get beaten? If I fought, that dog would have surely put a bullet in me, and gladly. Then what will happen to me, sir? The streets are full enough already of hungry orphans, and every day I thank Allah that I am alive. Not because I fear death, but because my wife was a husband and my son is not an orphan. I wish you could see Sora. He's a good boy. Rahim Khan Sahib and I have taught him to read and write so he does not grow up stupid like his father. And can he shoot with that slingshot? I take Sora around Kabul. Sometimes I buy him a candy. There is still a monkey man in charge now, and if we run into him, I pay him to make his monkey dance for Sora. You should see how he laughs. The two of us often walk up to the cemetery of the hill. Do you remember how we used to sit under the pomegranate tree there and read from the Shanamaha? The drugs have dried. The hill and the tree hasn't borne fruits in years, but Saraf and I still sit under its shade and I read to him from the Shanamaha. It is not necessary to tell you that his favorite part is the one with his namesake, Rustam and Sorab. Soon he will be able to read from the book himself. I'm a very proud and very lucky father. Amir Aga. Rahim Khan say is quite ill. He cuts all day and see blood on his lip when he wipes his mouth. He has lost much weight, and I wish he will eat a little of this shorwa and write that Farsan agent cooked for him. But he only takes a bite or two, and even that I think is out of the courtesy due Farsan. I'm so worried about this dear man. I pray for him every day. He's leaving for Pakistan in a few days to consult some doctor there, and inshallah, he will return with good news. But in my heart, I fear for him. Farsan and I have told little Sohrab that Rahim Khan's safe is going to be well. What can we do? He's only 10 and he adores Rahim Khan Sahib. They have grown so close to each other. Rahim Khan Sahib used to take him to the bazaar for balloons and biscuits, but he is too weak for that now, baby. I have been dreaming a lot lately, Amir Aga. Some of them are nightmares, like hang corpses rotting in soccer fields with blood-red grass. I wake up from those short of breath and sweaty. Mostly, though I dream of good things and praise Allah for that. I dream that Rahim Khan Sahib will be well. I dream that my son will grow up to be a good person. I dream that my son will grow up to be a good person, a free person, and an important person. I dream that Laula flowers will bloom in the streets of Kabul, and gain and robot music will play in the samovar houses, and kites will fly in the skies. And I dream that someday you will return to Kabul to revisit the land of our childhood. If you do, you will find an old faithful friend waiting for you. May Allah be with you always, Hassan. I read the letter twice. I fold the note and look at the photograph for another minute. I pocket both. Who is he? I ask. That letter was written 6 months ago, a few days before I left for Peshawar. Rahim Khan said, I took the Polaroid the day before I left. A month after I arrived in Peshawar, I received a telephone call from one of my neighbors in Kabul. He told me this story. Soon after I took my leave, a rumor spread that a Hassan family was living alone in the big house in Wazir Akbar Khan, or so the Taliban claim. A pair of Talib officials came to investigate and interrogate Hassan. They accused him of lying when Hassan told them he was living with me, even though many of the neighbors, including the one who called me, support Hassan's story. The Talib said he was a liar and a thief, like all Hazaras, and ordered him to get his family out of the house by sundown. Hassan protested, but my neighborhood said the Talibs were looking at the big house like, how did he say it? Yes, like wolves looking at a flock of sheep. They told Hassan they will be moving into a possibly keep it safe until I return. Hassan protested again, so they took him to the street. No, I read, and ordered him to kneel. No, God, no. And shot him in the back of the head. No. Farzana came screaming and attacked them. No. Shot her too. Self-defense, they claimed the letter. But all I could manage was to whisper, no, 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 over and over again, baby. I kept thinking of that day in 1974 in the hospital room, just after Hassan's early surgery. Baba, Rahim Khan, Ali, and I had huddled around Hassan's bed, watched him examine his new life in a handheld mirror. Now, everyone in that room was either dead or dying, except for me. Then I saw something else, a man dressed in a herringbone boots pressing the muzzle of his Kalashnikov to the back of Hassan's head. Their last echoes through the street of my father's house. Hassan slumps to the asphalt, his life of unrequited loyalty drifting from him like the wind-blown quiets he used to chase. The Taliban moved into the house. Rahim Khan said the pretext was that they had evicted a trespasser. Hassan and Farzana's murder were dismissed as a case of self-defense. No one said a word about it. Most of it was fear of the Taliban, I think, but no one was going to risk anything for a pair of Hazara servants.